Hey crew, welcome back to the Happily Living podcast. I'm Gabrielle, and if you've been around here for a while, you know this space is all about conscious living with a whole lot of grace. We're not about extremes or guilt trips. We're about reconnecting to nature, to ourselves, and to what really matters so we can live fuller, healthier lives that actually feel good. Today's episode is called The Shift, choosing grace, nature, and perspective during seasonal stress. And yes, it's a big one. We're going to talk about shifting our mindset during high stress seasons like spring and tax time, embracing the natural cycles around us, and finding peace and power in slowing down, getting outside, and making more intentional choices, from how we garden to how we gather. So grab your tea, go for a walk, or just get cozy, and let's get into it. Hey guys, so today we have so much to talk about, and maybe that's just the podcast in general. So I'm going to break it up, and I want to talk about the things that matter most at this moment in time, because the season is determining what is most important. And because spring is here, that relates to allergies, people starting to do lawn work and feel like this pressure. Then we have taxes to take care of, and I mean, if you're in the US, and there's just so much going on. Like, you feel like, okay, it's getting warm outside, I gotta do this, I gotta clean my garage, I gotta maybe you have a bunch of dogs and you have to clean up the backyard. Maybe you're like, okay, I need to trim the trees and bushes and cut things back and pick up the leaves. And it's like, have we ever stopped to think why we actually do that? Because I don't think we have. Because if you think about it, that's just a ton of societal expectations based off of maintenance, and it's not actually necessary. So that's what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover maintenance, lawn care, how we can go about taking care of allergies and what it really means when our antihistamines like Allegra and whatever other brand just no longer works for us. And not to mention all of the work we don't have to do, which actually benefits us way more than doing it. So let's start with taxes, because this past week, we as US citizens have to pay taxes, and it's brutal depending on what industry you're in. I mean, getting to make all this money and then you have to give thousands of dollars to the government in which you don't fully feel is justified, and it sucks, and you're almost like angry at the government, you hate the government. Yes, that's dramatic, but it's how we feel. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one, many of us feel that way, and it's because you put so much hard work and effort into making this money, and it's just taken from you, and you feel like the government didn't do anything for that. However, once you get done through taxes, you can look at it through two different ways. You can either use that perspective and feel angry and feel like you are taken from, like you're less in a way, that energy, that less perspective. Or you can think about it like, wow, I can't believe I made this much money. I made it happen. I've been wanting to do that, right? Because I feel like we're all very much financially driven in a way where we want to make more money. So if we're like, oh, wow, I made this much money, and yes, I had to pay taxes, but at the same time, I had the funds, the availability to be able to pay for that. And I'm still alive. I'm still free. I still have a home. So this is more of like things that I had to tell myself and look at in a different perspective, because otherwise I was not going to have a great day. Like, that negativity was just going to sit there and marinate inside of me, and it would have just ruined everything. I would have just been this cloud that was in every part of the rest of my day. And I'm over that, So I got to tell myself that I'm really grateful to be alive, and I'm really grateful to be healthy and have 2 dogs to care for and a home that I have worked so hard for. And with that, I let go of the frustration, like it was almost like in those days where it's really humid and it just finished raining and the steam is rising off the pavement. Like all of that negative energy was just lifting off of me, and the day just ended up being such a beautiful day. And it was because I made the choice to not waste my energy on that negativity and reflect and change my perspective that I was able to make use of my day, make use of my light, look at everything differently. So I hope that alleviates or incites you guys to try in those moments, regardless of taxes, whatever it is, when you're just feeling like this anger and frustration, as soon as you notice it, see how you can be like, okay, instead of looking at this as a lack, how can I look at this as a grateful perspective? Think about all the things you're grateful for. It really, truly helps. And the reason why we should do this and it betters us is because it really helps us enjoy life so much more day by day. Now, let's move into my favorite, a little insight into my work recently. So this culminates into the perspective of native plants and lawn care maintenance and allergies. So I just want to let you guys know I'm not going too far off topic, but last week while I was doing interviews for work, I noticed something really just uplifting. And it wasn't just once or twice, it was literally 4 times within just a portion of interviews out of, it's probably 10% of the people that were working here, right? So 4 out of all of these people within an hour, back to back to back, same thing. So I'm going to tell you what it is. Okay, so employees, their monitors, as I was going through, this area, they all, I could see what their wallpapers were, and one was a wild animal, and then another was a different wild animal, and then another was something to do with water and forest, and then the other one was a snorkeler, deep down, surrounded by, water, the ocean, the big deep blue. And it just emanated this feeling of pure stillness. It was freedom, like a sense of belonging and deeper connection. But when you think about it, why would a simple image like that evoke such powerful feelings for me or anyone? Why do they have that image? What does that give them? How does that make them feel? And this, my friends, after doing multiple deep dives of research and from previous lessons and education I've gone through, ties into something way bigger. And it is our innate longing for connection with nature. This is called biophilia. And it is the natural human desire to connect with nature. It is subconsciously rooted deeply in every single one of us to connect with nature. And this is supported by studies that show how nature imagery enhances these positive emotions. So, biophilia is real. Humans crave nature. Whether we know it or not, being surrounded by nature, whether through images, sounds, real life experiences, movies, a lot of cinematic shows dealing with various, islands and countries and continents, these boosts our mental and physical health. Now, I'm not saying watching White Lotus is what you need to do to boost your physical and mental health. However, even something as simple as a wallpaper of a serene forest or beach can reduce stress. So, with actual scientific evidence proving nature's influence is deeper than we realize. Think about it. 90% of American households use scented cleaning products. Interestingly, many of these products mimic nature's smells. Like, think of lavender, eucalyptus, pine, even rain. I know that there is clean laundry, and then there's, lemon and citrus smells. And the more I reflect on it, the more I realize that this isn't just a coincidence. It is our human nature to seek comfort in these familiar, calming scents. And this is why cleaning products and scent industries like Bath and Body Works, candles, Pura, like anything that relates to scent, a lot of not restaurants, but grocery stores in certain areas, and even when you go to the mall, in certain clothing stores, they have candles because that scent, that smell makes us alive somehow. It provides some sort of calming comfort relief to us. And this all goes back to my observation with the wild animal and water themed wallpapers I saw. They all connect to freedom, peace, and most importantly, nature's inherent healing properties. So the more I saw this, the more excited I became to share it with you all, because it's almost like all of these pieces continuously seem to fall into place. And I love being able to share that with you guys, because the crew, you all, are the reason that I feel so confident and influential about sharing this and educating the public and bringing awareness to ways that we can be there for ourselves and still live the life of our dreams, take control of our lives. We are constantly surrounded by things that contribute to our disconnection from nature. So this is where we're going to go into the lawn, because the common lawn care regimen includes, chemical fertilizers, weed killers, overwatering, right? And it's not actually overwatering the grasses itself, but it's causing a rise in our water bills, right? And this damages the environment. It not only impacts the planet, but impacts our water systems. And believe it or not, it all comes full circle and then impacts our health. So yes, our lawns need water and fertilizer and constant maintenance, but this drives up our bills and wastes our resources, and resources are not infinite. Okay? I want you guys to remember this. If you take anything away, that resources are not infinite. So let's talk about native lawns, right? Let's switch to, okay, well, if you can't have the common lawn, what do we switch it with? That'll be the native lawn. So native plants are actually easier to maintain. Native plants require less water. They don't need harmful fertilizers. They support the local ecosystem, and they save you money. The reason they support the local ecosystem and why this is actually important to us is because they bring in more beneficial insects and wildlife that help support the way we want to live our lives. So think about all the times that you feel the need to go and buy deep mosquito repellent. Okay, this is actually really harmful to our skin, to our bodies, to our health. It's also very harmful to the environment. And also take away the fact that if it's typically bad for the environment, it's probably not good for us. And if it's probably not good for us, it's probably not good for the environment. So they go hand in hand, right? Think about, for me as an individual with eczema and having sensitive skin, I cannot use this. And it's a problem, right? Because we think we're doing good by getting all these fertilizers and pesticides and, trying to make our lawn grow and be green and thrive. We think that's a good thing. And who wouldn't, right? But we're actually killing a bunch of beneficial insects that either eat grubs, eat mosquitoes, they do the things, they do the job that replaces all the necessary outsourcing of pesticides, fertilizer, even, mosquito repellent. They do all these things for us so we don't have to do it and pay for it. They do it for free. Think about it if you own a business and you start micromanaging and you're taking over someone else's job that you hired them to do and you pay them to do, but you're doing the work, why do you have them? Why do you pay them to do all this if you're doing it? Except in this scenario, we don't pay nature anything. And they do it for us. Like, we're saving money if we don't interfere with the process. So the next time you think about mowing your lawn as soon as it gets warm, or trimming back a bunch of bushes, hydrangeas, trees, bagging up leaves, okay? The damage that you're causing is preventing your yard to take care of itself. Leaves need to stay in your yard. You may think that this societal standard, this push to bag your stuff so it'll look like you care about your lawn, is better, but let me tell you why it's not. When you bag your leaves, not only do we rarely seem to get much time to ourselves with 9-to-5s or whatever regimen that we try to get rest from on the weekend, and we're using that time to take care of maintenance that doesn't need to be done on the weekend, the only time we get to ourselves, we then, right, we're wasting our time. We are also taking away the most personalized fertilizer for our lawn. Like, you cannot purchase anywhere the same personalized fertilizer for your lawn. And the reason this is because trees, as they soak up nutrients from the soil to produce these leaves, the leaves, when they die in the fall, will drop. That's to go back down into the soil, break down, and release all of these nutrients back into the ground. And we're taking that away every time we bag up leaves. And then in the spring, we pay hundreds of bucks because we need fertilizer, we need mulch, we need this, we need that. And it's like, bro, what are we doing? There's no reason we need to waste money, time, and effort on doing this when we're interfering the own process. It'll take care of itself. I promise you, it will be so beautiful. Here's the economic kicker, right? Because native lawns save you money in the long run, you won't have to do the fertilization, the water, or apply pesticides because they are evolved to withstand all of the environmental conditions within the area they are. That's why native plants are so beneficial, because you don't have to do all this extra work, and native plants can still be so beautiful. Plus, they support the local ecosystem. They support that by bringing in the bees and providing a lot of habitat cover and nesting sites and nutrition to your yard, like we talked about. And they'll just keep growing. Some of my plants I got were deer resistant, so the deers weren't eating it, but they were eating my hostas that we already had here. Like, I didn't plant those. And yeah, it was frustrating and it looked chopped up and it looked ugly, but at the same time, like, when we start caring about what other people think of our lawn, as if that reflects our ability to maintain our home, and it basically like dictates who we are as a person, that's a bigger issue, right? That's when you start caring about what other people think at a different level. And that's so much guilt you're putting on yourself that probably people could care less about. And if they are, who gives a fuck? Who cares about that? If they're going to be judgmental about that, then they have other issues. You know what I mean? Like, just stay true to yourself. You know what you're doing. I think we need to redirect what our priorities are in life. I woke up this morning and a rabbit was eating one of my favorite, like, blue-green small grass bushes. And I just opened the window. I'm like, bro, excuse me, what are you doing? Like, that's not for you. It looks Like we just shaved it diagonally. Like, come on now, you're destroying it. And then I look around, right? And I look at my hydrangeas because we didn't cut them back. And they're budding. I'm like, wait a second. If you don't cut back your plants, could they actually bud on the things you didn't cut back and then actually be bigger? Maybe they grow sooner, they bloom faster. And then I thought back to the rabbit and the grass, and I was like, wait a second. He may be trimming it down, but in the ways that they do it, there's no way that nature just lets them die. They definitely grow back, and they probably go back bigger. They all know what they're doing. Animals will never take more than what's there. Like otters eating fish, they're never going to take the entire fish population down with them. Animals do not do that. They know restraint. They know intuition in their body's needs. It's us. It's us that takes more than what is there. So the next time you're upset about rabbits or deer eating your plants, or thinking that your lawn looks ugly with all the leaves everywhere and the bushes not being cut back, are you more worried about what other people think? Are you not feeling confident in doing things in your day-to-day that you have to control your environment because it's the only thing you have control of? This is like a deeper thing. It's rooted deeper, and it's like we got to think about what's actually bothering us. Because my mom will be like, the deer is actually bothering me. I'm like, Mom, no. Do you see how beautiful the wildlife is around us when they are here? My dogs will just sit at the window and they will just watch it. And just watching my dogs in that moment is such pure stillness. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to sit here forever. Like, this is so beautiful. But here's the economic kicker. Okay, if none of that really resonates with you, native lawns save you so much money in the long run, okay? You don't need to constantly buy more plants and it ends up being like $500+ every single year. It's a simple switch that not only benefits the environment and your wallet, but it benefits your health, because your bees are actually, all pollinators really are able to pollinate the native pollen that'll support them, which will then in turn support you, because this is where we go into allergies, right? We tend to overlook allergies as our body is just not working with us. And that is not the case, okay? Allergies are brutal, or they were brutal for me, at least. I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want to be a part of life. I didn't want to exist during the springtime because my eczema would flare up. I'd get itchy on my hands, like my palms, under my feet. My eyes would water, and I would rub them so much that they would just get raw and just be in so much pain. My nose, I'd be sneezing all the time, but I'd be rubbing it so much that it would also be raw. Like, that's not fun. That's not fun for anyone. So I understand trying to get Allegra or Zyrtec or Benadryl, like whatever you have to get just to survive, right? Just to live. But here's the thing that I don't feel like most people are aware of that I want to address. So you've been taking your go-to allergy medication. Maybe it's Allegra, maybe it's Zyrtec, maybe it's a nasal spray, and suddenly it's like nothing's happening, right? You're still stuffy, still itchy. You feel like you just took it not even an hour ago and you want to take another dose. It's like your body just tuned it out, right? And in a way, that's kind of exactly what's happening. And this is called tolerance and receptor fatigue. So your body is brilliant, like next level genius. And sometimes it adapts to the medication you're feeding it. Allergy meds, especially antihistamines, work by blocking histamine receptors so that your body doesn't launch a full-blown response to allergens like pollen dust or pet dander. And you're like, yes, that's what I want. Okay, I'm so glad I take it. But over time, your body may actually adjust to having that medication in your system. It's just like melatonin. If you take it so consistently for so long, your body's not actually able to produce it, and you need to up your dose. It's what some call receptor fatigue, okay? Or developing a tolerance. It's like the receptors go, oh, this again. Cool. So we know how to go around that now. Don't worry about it, you guys. And just like that, your symptoms start breaking through. Here's the other layer though. And I think this is so in line with how we discuss health, and our bodies aren't reacting to just one thing. They're dealing with a cumulative burden of everything in our environment. So pollen might be the trigger, but your body is also managing synthetic fragrances, residual cleaning sprays, mold spores from last week's rain, processed food that causes inflammation, blue light and disrupted circadian rhythm, stress. Yes, emotional stress affects your immune system. I swear, and being the person that literally puts so much stress on herself all the time, I'm working on it. It's actually getting much better. But for someone who deals with stress on a daily basis, can easily say that it is the silent killer. Like, it will kill you before anything else, okay? You guys, so woo-sa. But when you're carrying all of this, like, heavy load, right? It's not just pollen. Your immune system might be like, yeah, I'm tapping out. You're on your own, dude. Like, the allergy medicine is not the issue. It's that the total input has maxed out your body's ability to regulate. It's not about your meds being quote unquote bad. It's about your system being overstimulated. So what can we do, right? This is where we pivot from temporary solutions to true wellness. So instead of constantly trying to suppress the symptoms, maybe ask yourself, how can I support my immune system at its root? Like, what inflammatory triggers can I reduce around me? Am I giving my body enough pause? Like, am I really resting and regulating? Or am I just thinking I'm resting and really I'm just on the couch over analyzing a lot of things and thinking I need to get all these things done, because that's not rest. And maybe ask yourself, like, what is happening with my gut health, right? Because this is hugely tied to immunity. And lastly, are you adding local honey or stinging nettle or even quercetin to your daily rhythm? And this is really important because while we're talking about natural rhythms and returning to what Earth provides, let's talk about something sweet, literally. Local honey. So, I mean, come on. This is nature's gold, right? If you've ever had raw or just local honey drizzled on toast or stirred into your warm tea or put in your yogurt or coffee, like whatever, you already know it's something special. Like, let's just go deeper than the flavor though. Local honey, true, raw, unpasteurized honey harvested from bees in your area, which you can get from farmers markets. You can look it up on Google. Things will pop up. These contain trace amounts of the very pollens floating through your regional environment. So when you consume it regularly, especially during allergy season, I even give it to my dogs, it can help your body build a natural resistance to those allergens. So think of it as your immune system's gentle intro course. Like, hey buddy, this is pollen. You don't need to overreact every time it shows up. It's wild, right? Like, we're so quick to grab antihistamines and sprays when something just flares up, when sometimes what we really need is just a spoonful of something made by the bees who live right here and are breathing the same air we do. Now, here's where things get interesting and a little surprising. So you may have heard that babies under 1 year old should never have honey, and that is absolutely true. Why? Because honey, especially raw honey, can contain spores of Clostridium botulinum. This is a bacteria that causes botulism, and in babies, their digestive systems aren't yet mature enough to handle it. And so the bacteria can grow in their little tummies and then lead to serious, even fatal illness. And it's rare, but it's real. So we protect our loved ones. We wait until their guts are ready. Nature's timing again. But here's where the irony kicks in. The very same toxin, botulinum, is isolated and injected into adult faces as Botox. So what's potentially fatal to infants is processed and diluted into one of the most common cosmetic treatments out there. Now, I'm not here to shame anyone for the choices. That's never my vibe. I have family and friends that do it, and people do it for various reasons, right? There's all different reasons why people get Botox. But it does make you pause, doesn't it? We're so quick to trust the manipulated version of something when it comes from a lab, but we fear this gentle, raw form that nature gives us for healing. So what if we slowed down and asked why? What if instead of seeking quick fixes for seasonal allergies or wrinkles or fatigue, we leaned into the long game? Rest, hydration, local nourishment, time in the sun, time with plants. Actually enjoying the weekend that we look so forward to and doing what we want instead of doing all this maintenance work. And then feeling either guilty and guilt tripping ourselves, or feeling guilty by projecting that thought onto them, onto other individuals, thinking that they're judging us for being quote unquote lazy, when that's not the case at all. We're actually doing something for the bigger picture in the long run, benefiting us by doing absolutely nothing. What if we trusted honey over allergy medications, and sleep over serums, and grace over guilt and control? Because nature obviously doesn't rush, and yet everything still gets done. The world keeps spinning. Your flowers end up blooming. The birds end up chirping. Everything revolves and turns and keeps going the way it's supposed to. So if you're feeling frustrated, just know your body isn't broken. It's communicating, it's overwhelmed, and it might just need a little less of the temporary numbing and a little more of the deep nourishment. Whether you're navigating taxes, sneezing through allergy season, or just trying to figure out if you should mow your lawn this week, I see you. You're doing better than you think. Remember, this season is an invitation, not a test, okay? It's okay to rest. It's okay to change. It's okay to start over. You don't need to earn rest. You don't need to earn joy. You don't need to earn freedom. And I have left a few resources in our caption notes, like native plant guides for Michigan and Midwest, YouTube tutorials on native lawns and rain gardens, non-toxic cleaning and garden products I love, eco-friendly local shops and plant nurseries, mindset journals, and financial wellness tools. So let's keep showing up for ourselves and the planet, not perfectly, but with intention. Thanks for hanging with me today. Share this episode with a friend who needs a little grace and a little dirt under their nails. And until next time, keep choosing what feels good, grounded, and happily you. With love and light.